has been a long waiting for the start of the 52 Super Series 2021, but it's going to be well worth the wait. We've got 16 boats here, the biggest fleet for many, many years, lined up here in Puerto Portales on the island of Menorca for the Puerto Portales 52 Super Series Sailing Week and the 20th Anniversary Invitational. We've got 9 top-level boats racing in the 52 Super Series and 7 boats here for the Invitational. What's new this season is Terry Hutchison's back on the Quantum Racing with Lucas Calabrese as a new young Argentinian strategist, and Vasco Vascotto is back joining the Bruna Nasek team.
It's very exciting because there is plenty of friends and plenty of enemy. We'll have a nice battle in the water.
It's fantastic being back on the water. Great, the friends and the ambient at the regattas is what I miss the most.
Oh, it's great to be back.
After 18 months or 16 months, nice, good. I've been right now the 5th or 6th time on the boat this year. In the beginning it feels a little bit rusty, but right now it's okay.
After almost 2 years, we are all happy. Doesn't matter, just to go to sail, that is a goal.
And after a 5-year gap, Interlodge are back with the 52 Super Series with the boat which was formerly Azura, a super well-sorted boat, and Austin and Gwen Fragaman looking to have a great season.
Oh, it feels great to be back. We have no illusions that we have tough competition out here, so we want to hang in there with the front of the fleet if we can. This is a very exciting venue to race in, so I'm delighted.
We're back to business now for the 52 Super Series. Let's see who's going to be celebrating and winning the title in Puerto Portales. Well, welcome back to Puerto Portales in the sunny island off Mallorca. We are live on the final day of the 52 Super Series, Puerto Portales Sailing Week and the 20th Anniversary Invitational. I'm joined in the studio by none other than Ed Reynolds. A rare pleasure to have you on board in the studio today. Tell us, what do you see happening on the water today?
You know, it's just right back to how the Super Series has always been. We started the regatta, looked really strong. And almost every regatta we've ever had. The first day, somebody looks like they're going to run away with it, but here we are once again, the last day of the event, with 5 or 6 boats all in a position to win this event.
That's right. There's 1 point between Sled at the top of the table and Quantum Racing in second. There's 6 points between first and seventh. Totally open. And the weather situation today is quite interesting. We've got the Mistral breeze and northerly in the north of the island. We should still get a little bit of sea breeze effect. It's going to be a challenging day for the guys at the back of the boat.
Yeah, it's,
You'd rather be here, wouldn't you?
It's way easier here. Well, normally I'm on the chase boat, and obviously we're all super geniuses on a chase boat, never missed a shift. But, there's a couple of scenarios that could play out, and, the afterguard that gets it figured out first, going to be very, very strong today.
You were in your team briefing this morning. What was the wonder coach saying, James Lyon? What's he saying?
He mainly focuses on the things we can control. Let's just always control what we can control, which is boat speed, positioning. The weather's going to do what the weather's going to do. But, in this fleet, it's just critical, especially at a time like this in the regatta. We got to make sure we're in a position where we can dictate what happens to the fleet and not get dictated to.
So in terms of risk management, what does that mean?
Risk management is, not trying to get clever, not trying to ever think you're smarter than anyone else. It's use the tools, use the things we've developed, and just grind. I mean, that's been a mantra for quantum racing forever. Where we hardly ever win a race. We just try to get in that top 3 and just grind the race out.
And yesterday was a great day. It was a day of celebration. It was nothing really to do with points for the 52 Super Series, but you guys had a big win, and that must help the crew morale coming into today.
Well, a win's always great. We won by so much that it's like, okay, let's forget that one. We'll never do that again. I actually thought the second race where we got a third, that was classic.
It's quite often the
racing.
case, isn't it?
Yeah, we got in a position, we were in 5th, got back to 4th, worked our way into 3rd, and it was just a battle all the time, focusing on crew handling, focusing on boat speed, and that's how you win regattas here in this circuit.
Now tell me about your new strategist, Lucas Calabrese, an Argentinian Olympic medalist in 2012. What was it? What influence did you bring Lucas on board?
We wanted to bring somebody new into the fleet. We want it, and the quantum racing team, they're tough. I mean, when you look at the people on this on our program, you can't just bring anyone in. It's a hard crowd, and I mean, I've been so impressed with the maturity in working and giving input to Terry Hutchinson. That's not an easy job.
No, of course.
But the two of them are working incredibly well together. Michaela Valdi is the perfect kind of moderator on the team, and so
it was interesting talking to Guige yesterday because he knows him as well. I mean, he's Italian, but he's not got that Latin temperament, and he's a very, very solid individual at the back of the boat, isn't he?
World-class strategist, world-class navigator,
and
world-class tactician, and so the position he fills for our team is incredibly important, and Lucas has just been an amazing addition for the team.
Let's have a look at the scoreboard then. As it stands, I say it's totally open. Sled have won more races than anybody with two race wins on the top. And Sled, I say, 1 point ahead of Quantum Racing. Quantum had that little blip on that 3-race day with their 6th and their 7th, but other than that, I think we've had 5 different boats winning over the races so far. That tells you a lot. Phoenix in position to do some damage as well. They had a strong day on that 3-race day. Last time we raced with a 4-1-3. I think they're the team on the ascendancy. Pravetsa won the last race. But look at that scoreboard for that 3-race day. A 9 and a 1 in the same day. That tells you a little story in itself. Allegra generally pretty consistent and not too far out of the chocolates at the moment. Platoon again, a little bit of a blip in the middle of the regatta, but came away with a good second. Brunenisek showed they can win races yesterday when they won the 2nd race, but they're a little bit out of it. Interlodge and the Gladiator. I mean, Ed, your kind of evaluation, Phoenix a team on the climb as well. Tom Slingsby at the back of the boat.
They're fantastic. They had a couple of penalties early on. Otherwise, they'd be right at the top of the leaderboard. What's interesting when you look at the score sheet there, normally you win the series, you can win the season with an average of about 4 to 4.3 points. So
you tell Terrier that, he tells you, or you just...
Well, we all know. And so looking at this, with 9 boats, I would predict the winner of this event is going to average around a 4th. And there's no other fleet in the world that happens.
It's incredible, isn't it? But of course, we're talking about the regatta. We're also looking at the whole season. So the boats like Platoon that maybe done not so well at the moment, they're still in the picture. Somebody told me 22 races still to go.
Yeah, and that's always our goal. As number one, we want to win races. We don't work that hard to, we don't take chances to win races. We'd like to win regattas, but we want to win the series.
It's the cherry on the top to win a regatta. It's the real thing is winning the series. And of course, you guys, I always say there's nothing more potent than a Quantum Racing team on the bounce back.
Yeah, I have high expectations for today. Hopefully they're not listening because they'll crumble under the pressure I'm putting on them. But I'm expecting a strong showing from the team.
Anyway, Ed, great to have you with us. We spoke with a bunch of different skippers and top sailors before they left the dock here in Puerto Portals early this afternoon. Let's listen to them. So, Morgan, and talk to us a little bit about the Platoon team. What do you guys have to do today to win the regatta?
Don't look at the scores and just go race. It's going to be an unstable day with a fight between northeast and southeast and a lot going on. We're 8 points out of first after doing 3 circles in the event. So a lot of our potential was washed away, but still 2 races to go. A lot still to fight for.
2 races left, 2 races all to play for. So if you look at the points, first through 7th place is within a matter of, it's a 1 race difference. So you can win the regatta or you can come towards the bottom. So our plan is to go out, execute a good start, have a first good beat, enact our game plan, and go from there.
Look, we're just trying to not look at the scoreboard and do all the little things right. Race our boat, and wherever the chips fall, the chips fall. But it's a weird scenario because we've basically averaging a 4th place and we're leading the regatta, which just shows that the mixture of the results of all the boats is quite devastating for sometimes.
It's tight as. Pretty good chance today, Andy, that whoever wins the day will probably win the regatta. And I'd say, there's 5 boats can win the regatta.
Give us a little bit of an evaluation of who's on the money in your opinion.
I think Sled are sailing well. Phoenix are fast. We have flashes of brilliance. As ever, Terry's really consistent with Quantum. Money, if I had to bet on a podium, I'd say I think Phoenix, Quantum and ourselves.
I'll go with that.
Very open. It's nice and close as everyone is expecting always in this fleet. Our game plan today is just to go out, have a good first race, and then take it from there. The points are real close. I think there's 22 to 27 from first to third. And then there's a bunch behind us, but separated by 2 points, I think, all the way down to about 7th.
Yeah, I think that will be exciting last 2 races. We are 8 points ahead of the leading boat, but we need to don't think too much about the final result of this event. We need to looking forward to the season. That is important. So try to recover a couple of points from the leading boat will be just very good. So let's go in the water and show how strong we are, because I think that we have a good potential.
So Vasco's saying they've got some good potential on board the Brunn in a sec. But Ed Reynolds, interesting to hear both the coaches there, Morgan Reeser and Rod Davis, both saying the same thing in the opening part of their interviews, saying they're going on the water, they're not thinking about the scoreboard, they're not looking at the scoreboard, they're sticking to the processes and doing the best.
I'll agree with that for the first race. Once you get into the last race of the day,
you've got to look at the numbers.
Starting to look at numbers. But you've got to get a great first race. You've got to put yourself in a position to be concerned about the numbers. And so, but right now nobody's worried about the points.
And Stir Fry's evaluation, he says that the team that wins the day can win the regatta.
Absolutely. I agree with him completely. Performing today is how you win this.
Do you agree that Phoenix could win the regatta?
Absolutely. They're very quick. Tom Slingsby is amazing.
Tom Slingsby's a real run of wins. He's done 2 CLGP wins. He won Copa del Rey with the Club's 150. His first time into the boat, won it not comfortably, but it was close. But he's a super talent at the back of the boat.
Well, a lot of that, what he's been doing, you wouldn't think would translate into the success he's having here. It just shows what an unbelievable sailor that guy is.
But it's interesting. Talking to him there and here, he said, "But this is my meat and drink. This is what I grew up on. Gaining a metre here and a metre there is different in CLGP, where everything's at 30, 40 knots.
Yeah.
But this is what he's best at."
But even a guy like him, he's got to enjoy this. For me, I'm a fan of Grand Prix racing. When you look out and you watch these tacticians, Vasco, JK, Terry, Tom Slingsby, Ado, and watch the way they work this fleet, it's just absolutely brilliant. So, and then Tom, for sure, he's more than capable of winning this event.
Anyone else? Who would be your outlier for the moment? That's not won a regatta yet. Allegria, for example, they have all the tools in the toolbox. They trained through Copa del Rey. They did 2 weeks. They're just knocking on the door. Yeah,
the team that scares me the most out there is Sled.
Yeah, for sure.
They do. They're quick almost all the time. Fundamental. First of all, I think Quantum Racing will win. But if not, I would put my money on Sled.
Well, let's wait and see. We had a quick interview about the weather, just a very short piece with Rod Davis, I think. Tell me, it's going to be a little bit more of an unsettled day with the Mistral, northerly, sea breeze. Could be exciting.
Yeah, the forecast is pretty tricky today. We've got every sail known to man in the chase. Its direction and velocity is going to change at some point during the day. Maria's going to have her hands full, but hopefully 2 good races.
Well, indeed, hopefully 2 good races. We're joined, as you might see, by Guillermo Parada, the current 52 Super Series champion. Guiche, who's your money on?
That's a tough one.
We like to start with easy questions.
Yeah, my money's on Sled.
Really? Why is that?
Because they are leading, because they are going quick. They have a good team, and it's time for them to win a regatta. They have the chance. They are leading, and I think that they are prepared. They are mature enough to win. Obviously, you can never count Quantum Racing out, and some of the other teams that are close, but I hope Sledge wins.
I would probably go along with that. Now, talk to us a little bit about the weather, because it's an interesting weather picture. See, we've got the Mistral, the northerly direction in the north of the Med. We've got the thermal effect potentially. A little bit of a battle between the two breezes.
Yeah, Palma is a tricky place because we have the northeasterly gradient, which is if it's strong enough, it goes from the top of the island and gets into the bay. If let's say like 5-10 kilometers to the north of the shore, the breeze starts dropping below 10 knots, doesn't have the power enough to go through the island, so stays there, and somehow the breeze goes to the sides of the island and bend, and they came back into the base like a southwest, normally sea breeze. So if the gradient is strong enough, which so far it's been the case, I mean,
we'll race in the northerly.
We'll race with the northerly. Otherwise, it could be very, very tricky because normally it's like a fight in between the two breezes, and it can take a while. But if the northerly is holding, that's good signs for today's racing and for the end of the regatta.
So sailing in that northerly, in terms of risk management, can you sail up the middle of the course, or is it picking a side, or what's the general safe option in race one today?
Well, I think that every time that the breeze is not steady, being on the right hand side of the course is powerful at the start, at least, because if you have clean start, you can choose your moment to tack, and you can play the shifts. Or
you can bow down.
While if you are at the pin, you need to rely on the whole fleet tacking or being able to tack. So you take the risk of missing the first phase, which normally is important. So I would say that if you want to play it safe, if you're sailing in a shifty breeze, you need to start on the right and be able to play the shifts, play the phases.
Well, let's see how that plays out. We've got Tor Tomlinson on the water at 2.5 minutes before the start. Tor, looks like a fantastic setup for this first race of the day on this big finale for the 52 Super Series Puerto Portal Sailing Week.
Yes, Andy, it's perfect conditions again out here today, but a little bit different. We've got the breeze coming in from the northeast. We've got about 12 to 15 knots. I've just been watching a few of the boats stretching their legs before the start this morning, and it's looking shifty out there. So different race course, shifty conditions. It could be a totally different game. The boats that did well on that race course in the southwesterly sea breeze might not be the same at the top today.
Indeed, I think I think Sled had a good day in the northerly. Let's see how that plays out. But Guige, conditions looking pretty decent.
Yeah, so far the northeasterly is holding. Looks like the fleet is enjoying a good breeze, and as we said, nobody's pushing really hard with 1 minute 30 to go to the pin at the moment. Looks like the fleet is going to be spread out. Obviously, there's always someone who can decide to take a lot of risk and go for the pin if the pin is open, because if the left at the end is strong, you could have a very good chance. But so far, it looks like the fleet is spread, and it's looking like Quantum has decided to start just below Sled, so they may be able to attack them or maybe have control of their situation. 055, 1.7 miles is the race course Maria decided to, so it's all up for racing now. Only 45 seconds to go.
So what's it about at this stage, Guige? At 45 seconds to go, as you said, we can see Quantum and Sled side by side. Sled just tacking to clear, get a little bit of distance above Quantum Racing. Brunesek have quite a nice position there, a little bit of runway to leeward. Platoon lining up quite nicely again. They've got a little bit of space to bring the bow down, and Sled just being pushed up slightly by Quantum. Gladiator trying to come in at the boat end, and down at the pin we have Phoenix and Interlodge.
Yeah, so far if I have to choose one to be from that group, I would like to be Platoon. They have the most distance to leeward. Provesa is also looking good, but they are going to be starting very, very slow.
Sled bow down.
So from all of these boats, well, at the end it was Quantum and Brunesek who had the best cut on the line. Platoon was set up for a good start, but the final execution was a little bit too late. Apparently no flag from the race committee, so clear start, and it is going now. So it's Bronenosek and Quantum with the nose ahead of the fleet, so probably they will be able to sneak ahead and be able to control the opposition. Sled in a tough spot because they are very, very affected by Quantum, and also they cannot come high because they have Bronenosek on top. So I'm expecting Sled to tag really, really soon, and then Quantum will have to decide if they continue to try to win the race or extend, which I think is going to be the case, or they tag to control Sled.
Looking at Phoenix, I think Phoenix coming pretty much off the pin end of the line with Tony Norris steering and Paul Wilcox there doing main sheet.
Yeah, but still,
Bronenosek moving quite nicely there, Guiget.
Yeah, still Bronenosek and Quantum were the best at the line. Proveza had a good position, but they started a little bit late, but they have the right of way. They are on starboard tack, so they can decide. If they are able to hold Platoon and the other boats, they are the ones deciding when to tack, so they will be able probably to find out or to pick up the first shift. So that's pretty powerful in this unsteady breeze.
So talk to us a little bit about Phoenix position. What are their options there? They're having to wait, really, aren't they?
Yeah, if they decided to start on the pin, you are forced to go for the left. I mean, and you need to rely on the fleet tacking, and then wait for your moment to tack and hope or cross your fingers that when everybody tacks, you are in a good phase to go away. But as we said, Sled was forced to tack away, and now the race is getting open now because Quantum is pretty much locked. I mean, they cannot tack because they have 3 boats on their hip. I mean, Bronenosek, Platoon, and Proveza, they are preventing them to tack, and then Sled is going into the other side. So it's a pretty nervous for sure for all tacticians, this kind of breeze. But you need to settle down, wait for your moment, wait for the breeze to come your way, and pick up when it's the best moment to play the shifts and go and cover your opposition. Big dip you can see on the tracking on Sled, big dip that they had to do on Gladiator, so they lost at least 1.5 lengths there. It was a costly very way, but they had no other chance to do it if they wanted to open the game a little bit.
So Proveza with the advantage early on, or between Proveza and Platoon. Proveza with the strongest position on the water in terms of controlling the boats to leeward, but they have just tacked. Phoenix have tacked out as well. Quantum and Bronenosek carrying on.
I think right now it's in between Platoon and Quantum to be leading. I'm expecting Platoon to be tacking really soon. I mean, assuming a left is coming, and Bronenosek is suffering a little bit. They become the ham on the sandwich in between the 2 Brolic boats, so they need to stay there until Platoon tacks, so they are able to follow. So far, Quantum, I think it's a boat that it's making the gains. So assuming the breeze goes their way, they will be in a very, very good spot. Otherwise, they will have to wait again for the breeze to go to the left and then see where they are.
So Tor, how's it looking where you are on the TV boat?
I am just looking at Allegra here, who were a little bit late into the start, but banged out to the right and are looking quite strong on the boats as they're coming back over. I wasn't surprised to see Quantum and Sled fighting it out on the start line. 1 point between them. If they can stay in the top half of the fleet and get some boats in between them, then that's what they'll be looking to do. But yes, Sled's struggling out here. They're just tacked quite a way behind Allegra, so I don't think they're looking as great in this race. But split race course, and Proveza looking strong in the middle.
Indeed, Allegra looking quite good on this right side, Guiget.
Yeah, right now it looks like the breeze went to the right, and that's that's a risk that you are taking if you are not able to control your destiny. I mean, Quantum decided to start to lure of some of the boats, and if the breeze doesn't go to the left, I mean, you are blocked and you need to wait, and you rely on somebody else, which is not the best case many times. They were a little bit lucky because sled had a really bad start. Otherwise, they would be in trouble. So right now, Alegre, that didn't have a very good start, looks like they are leading, but they tack now. So probably the breeze is coming back to the left a little bit. So if geometrical wise or positioning wise, I think that Provesa is in a good spot because they are in the middle of the course and they still can get benefits from both shifts. I mean, they can choose and they can decide where to tack to one side or the other one. If Alegre is tacking back to starboard, so probably the shift or the wind shifted to the right again. So obviously you need to play the shifts in this northeasterly. Obviously the pressure makes a lot of difference, but upwind, the difference in speed between a puff and a lull can be 2-3 tenths, and the difference in shift can be like 10 degrees, which makes a lot of difference. But for example, the opposite is in the runs, but you get a good puffs and you can accelerate like probably 2-3 knots, and sometimes the puffs are more important than the shifts, but it's not the case with this upwind leg. And now Provesa also tacks on starboard. I can see Quantum and Platoon and Brunner, I mean, having a hard time coming back from that left side. Normally at the end of the beat there is a lefty, but it normally also only arrives on the last minute. So we'll see if it comes on this opportunity and if it's enough for them to bring them back into the race course. So far I would like to be Provesa rather than any of that group.
So Provesa lying in 4th place going into today, 27 points versus 22 for sled. So they are in contention. They're a team who have won here 2 regattas ago. And Ergen Imre would very much like to put another regatta win back on the table. They have a new rig, Guige, don't they?
Yeah, for sure. With 2 races scheduled for today, it's still everything is up. Unfortunately, I can see the breeze dropping or not as strong as it was at the beginning of the transmission. So that maybe means that the breeze is not holding, and I'm foreseeing a tough final of this race, and I'm crossing my fingers to be able to have the next one. So we'll find out. Something weird.
With Platoon there.
Yeah, Platoon is coming. Everyone is coming back. So maybe it was a big shift, and Maria has decided to cancel the race. That's probably what's going on.
Looks like it. We're looking at Tony Langley in the Gladiator team. So it looks like this race is abandoned for the moment.
Yeah, for sure it's abandoned. I'm sure we will have an update from the water soon, and we'll see if we have enough breeze to race in the near future, or if this is a fight that will last for a long time and we'll have to wait. But unfortunately the breeze seems to be dropping, and that's normally a bad sign with this wind direction.
Because this is when we start to have the thermal effect coming in, the sea breeze.
Yeah, normal. For letting the people understand the difference in temperature in between the day and the night in the land is very big. So maybe during the day you have like 50-60 degrees over the pavement in the land, so that makes the whole land to heat up, and the mass of air goes up. That creates a hole, and for gravity the wind tries to go from the sea to the land to fill that hole. That's what normally causes the sea breeze, because in the sea the changes of the temperature in the water in between the night and the day is 1 or 2 degrees. So it's not changing that much. So the mass of the air is staying there. But in the land, whenever we have sun, I mean and heat, then the whole mass goes up, and then by pressure the wind wants to come in. So it's looking like it's the case now that the land is really heating. We know here it's really very hot, and probably that's why the sea breeze is fighting hard with the northeasterly gradient, and that's why we are not having a proper breeze in the bay still.
But it was interesting to hear Cappy the other day saying that the sea temperature is actually cooler this year than it was last year. Remember the last time we raced here when they were saying that because it had been so hot for so long through the summer and even the spring there, that the sea temperature was much warmer, and therefore the sea breeze generation was not as strong as it is normally. But normally, or just now, it looks to be quite decent.
Yeah, but still the temperature of the water is in between 27, 28 degrees, which is warm enough. I mean, we've been having the normal sea breeze during the whole week, and it looks like it's already getting in. If you look at Alegre, looks like they are having breeze from the sea and not from offshore, not offshore. As you can see on the far right, the boat that is going upwind, very close to the shore, it's still having the northeasterly, while Alegre is already with the sea breeze. So for sure it's going to be a fight. If that fight is quick, we may have the two races. Otherwise, we will need to be patient and prepare for only one race.
Could you tell us a little bit about the sources of weather the different teams use, and who are the different forecasters, and how does it work?
Well, on Azurra, we normally had a very long-term relationship with Capi, so we use him for quite a long time, and obviously there are specific venues that most of the crews, and especially Palma, Capi lives here. He knows the bay very, very well. And
is that exclusive, or do he gives information to other teams, or it's really down to how you interpret it?
Yeah, we talked to him in between races, and also when Santi was sailing with us, he used to work with Elena Cristofori. He works with her for his Olympic campaign, so they get along very well and they understand each other very well. So Santi was sending her pictures or feedback from the race course, and he was calling Elena in between or before the races. Not only we were receiving the forecast to plan for the day and decide which were the sails we were carrying on the boat and the chase, spare sails and all that stuff, but during the day on the water we were calling her to have updates and trying to understand what the sun or some clouds were, how were they were going to affect the race course, and especially to try to get the first shift, which is also, we all know it's so important, because that will determine where you position yourself in the line, where do you head in the first 2 minutes, and 60-70% of the time that determines your range of position in the race. So trying to get that right is very, very important. The good thing, Andy, is that boats already have the breeze from the southwest, so that means that hopefully we'll be able to be racing soon, and hopefully Maria will be able to set up a race course. And probably that was a lucky shot for sled.
It was. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're saying you're talking with Calpe and getting updates all the time. So will they now be back talking to the weather teams at this stage, or
for sure they are all talking to their weathermans. So I'm sure they are busy now, giving them feedback and letting them know what to expect, or how quick it could be, or which direction will the sea breeze be filling in, because as we said yesterday, if it's from the south to the east, then the left normally strong. If the breeze comes from the south to the west, normally the right is strong. So it's a tricky situation, and obviously also depends a lot of where Maria positions the race course, because if the race course is closer to Portals, then the right becomes stronger. If the race course is closer to Palma, then the left coast influences the wind a lot more. So you need to take a couple of things into consideration before making your calls.
Well, we will indeed wait and see what happens with that sea breeze coming in. The signs do look good. We're going to take a little bit of a break and join us. We should get some racing going, hopefully. The signs, as Guige said, look pretty good. Join us in a short while. A very good afternoon. Welcome back to Puerto Portals. It's been a long and nervous wait on the water, unfortunately. The breeze has not filled in, neither from the north or from the sea breeze direction. So the unfortunate news is we're getting an AP over A, and there's going to be no further racing. So, Guige, then we're seeing the sled team. Victory for the team of Takashi Akura. Unfortunately, wasn't able to be here to join his team. But, Guige, your reaction, a great team. And your prediction for the day?
Yeah, I was lucky. I was betting on sled. They finally won. So I'm pretty sure they are very happy there. Especially Murray Jones, who was the filling helpsman for this regatta, replacing the owner. So I'm pretty sure that they are having a good time and they are enjoying their moment.
Indeed, it was just 1 point in the end, but I mean it's a strange regatta in some respects where there was a lot of up and downs. They counted 2 sevenths in their scoreline. Quantum Racing had a 6th and a 7th, but it was incredibly close in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is. If you check the leaderboard, I mean it was 7-8 points in between the first 7 boats. So that meant that with 2 races scheduled for today, it was everything up to play. Unfortunately, the breeze didn't show, and when it did, it was not stable enough to have the fleet racing. So Maria decided to call it a day, and that means that the results are staying the same.
I mean, the important thing is to make sure that any race is equal and fair. And in these conditions, even trying to get something away for the sake of it would not be right. But what have we taken away from this regatta, looking forwards to Menorca and the circuit as a whole?
Well, it was a strange regatta because after the first day, it was looking like Quantum was going to sweep the regatta with ease. Especially after the first 3 races. But then in the second day, everything changed. Quantum have a very unusual day with ups and downs, and that's when sled picked up their game. They posted first, a second, and then they just hung in there for the 3rd race of the day. But it was just enough for them to sneak into the lead. But other than that, I think that the whole fleet has been very, very leveled on this regatta, and we have, I think, that 5 different winners in 7 races. So that show you how open this week was, and it's up everything is up to play in Menorca in 1 month.
In terms of the boats and the development of the boats, I mean, from what you know, it's been pretty stationary, pretty static since Cape Town, really.
Yeah, most of the changes are coming from the aero side. We are.
They have new standing rigging, though, don't they?
Some of them have new standing rigging, and some other teams like Bruneno Second Provesa, they have lav-structured jibs. That's a new technology that comes from the America's Cup, which means basically that the load of the forestay is shared in between the rod itself and the lav of the sail. That in theory gives you an advantage as the sail holds the same shape even if you are pulling the Cunningham with a lot of tension. So that's something that will be introduced into most of the Grand Prix classes in the near future, but Provesa and Bruneno they jumped the way.
A toast, I think, there to Mr. Akura at home in Japan, and our best wishes to him. But let's have a look at the final scoreboard. As I said, sled winning the 52 Super Series Puerto Portal Sailing Week title, the first title of the season by just a single point from Quantum Racing. Quantum on 23, Phoenix in 26 points, Provezza 27 also from Allegra, so 4th and 5th on tiebreak. Then 28 points for Platoon, Berenasek, and 30 points, 37 for Interlodge and Gladiator on 9th. A quick word about Phoenix then. They're a team that could win this regatta. They could win the next regatta quite easily with Tom Slingsby coming in on board.
For sure, they had moments of a lot of pride. Unfortunately for them, they were not able to materialize it into the scoreboard because of penalties or
over the start line as well. One race, weren't they?
And one OCS at the beginning of the regatta. But other than that, I think that they've been shown to be pretty quick and consistent when they were out of trouble. So if they are able to get the mistakes out of the equation, for sure they will be contenders for the remainder of the season. As we said, the first 7 boats are still very compressed in points, so whoever picks up a little bit for the next regatta will be up there for sure.
Indeed. So that is the sled then winning this first regatta of the season. Guige, talk to us just a little bit about Menorca then. As a venue, what's it like compared to, for example, here with Palma? Palma's generally flat water and sea breezes. Menorca's a different kettle of fish, as they say.
Menorca, I love the place because Menorca is very open to the north. So whenever you have Mistral in France, the north there is very strong. For example, in a northeasterly gradient as we have today, Menorca for sure you were racing, and as the bay is not as protected as the Palma Bay, you have a lot of waves, which make it even more difficult to race. So I love the place. It's very open, and you can have different scenarios with different wind directions. So I think it's a place that it will be very worth looking for the racing.
Who's going to win in Menorca then? Based on what you've seen here, I mean, it's so open, but do you see anybody coming in as a little outlier, or is it?
I will say make choose two. I will say Phoenix or Brandenosok. but you need to give me yours.
Of course, I will go with sled again.
Very good. Okay, we'll see.
Guige, it's been a real pleasure. Hope you'll join us at some stage over the course of the season, albeit a truncated season. Loads of excitement here in Puerto. Thank you so much for following us all the way through the regatta. We'll see you in Menorca.